Hello, my name is Angelina and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my October TBR. So just a heads up before we get into this TBR, I probably won't be going into much detail about the plot of these books because I have not read them yet and I like going into my books without knowing really anything about them, so keep that in mind. First book going on my October TBR is a buddy read that I'm doing with one of my friends, and that is for Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. All I know about this is that it's lesbian necromancers in space. That's how it's pitched, and that's all I know about it. But I will be buddy reading it with my friend, so that will be fun. Another one going on my TBR is Long Live the Pumpkin Queen by Shay Earnshaw. This has been one of my highly anticipated books for ever. I've been following this whole process of this book since it was announced. I'm a very big fan of The Nightmare Before Christmas, so I am super excited to get into this. All I know about this is that it's Sally's perspective after the end of the events from The Nightmare Before Christmas, so I'm super excited for this one, and I really enjoy Shay Earnshaw's writing. I didn't really care for her adult book, but I've loved all of her previous young adult books. This is young adult, so I'm hoping that I end up really loving this one. And then I put a couple of books on my TBR for Blackoweenathon. If you don't know, Blackoweenathon is hosted by Bree from the Locked Booktician, as well as a whole bunch of other co-hosts. I will leave that all linked in the description below if you want to check it out and participate, but it is running for the entire month of October. I would highly recommend that you join in. So the first book is The Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste. This is a middle grade horror book. I don't know too much about it, but I've heard a couple people talk about it before, and it was one of the featured books at my library. I felt like a fun, spooky middle grade would be fun to read, so I added it to my TBR. And then Bree, again from the Locked Booktician, she did a whole video recommending books for different Blackoweenathon prompts, and my library only had one of them, so that is the one I'm going to be putting on my TBR. And that book is Wife of the Gods by Kwai Cordy, and I don't know anything about this, but if Bree recommended it, I will trust her recommendation. I will be vlogging Blackoweenathon, and I do have other books on my TBR for it, but they're also being used for sort of another secret vlog project that I'm doing, so I'm not going to be mentioning them here, but there are other books on my TBR for this, and look out for a vlog for Blackoweenathon. So next I want to talk about a couple of arcs that I have that I need to read in October. The first of which is Never Cross a Highlander by Lisa Ray. This is a historical romance, and it looked like fun, so I'm excited to get to this one. And the other arc that I need to read is You're a Mean One, Matthew Prince by Timothy Javosky. This is a male-male romance. It's sort of inspired by The Grinch, and that just sounds right up my alley. So I'm also excited to read this one. Now let's talk about some of the other just random books on my TBR that I have been wanting to get around to for a while now. One being The Border Keeper by Kirsten Hall. This came as like a free book through one of the tour newsletter email things. And it's like a 200-page sort of novella. I don't know anything about it, but I am trying to sort of clear out all of these free ebooks that I've acquired over the years, so I'm trying to put some of those onto my TBR, and this is the one that I ended up choosing for this month. And then for my monthly book that I am rereading, I decided to go with Always Human by Ari North. This is an arc of this graphic novel that I received back in 2020. I read this for a blog tour, and I ended up really loving it, and I want to reread it. This is a book that I can tell you about because I have read it, and it follows these two girls who live in this futuristic world where basically anyone can modify their body, change their looks, all of that with technology. And one of the girls that we're following is an active user of this technology. She's always changing her looks, like everything about her, she's constantly changing. And we're following this other character who has this like disorder, I suppose, where her body isn't able to use this technology. And we're kind of like following their romance, sort of like exploring this world, sort of diving into like what happens sort of when people can change anything about themselves. And yeah, I really enjoyed this first time I read it, and it's just a cute, quick graphic novel, so I think this will be a nice one for this month. And then to continue on with my nonfiction reading, I've sort of been trying to read one each month. This month I decided to go with Disability Visibility, edited by Alice Wong. This is one that I see everywhere on BookTube, so obviously I want to give it a try, and I'm assuming this is a nonfiction exploring disability and how that is in our society. And for my classic of the month that I have done absolutely terrible of keeping up with, this month I decided to go with Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, for no other reason than the fact that this is one of the classics I had on my list to read this year that my library finally has an audiobook available for, so. But yeah, this one going on the TBR. Then I also want to read 1 Week to Claim It All by Adriana Herrera. I really enjoy all of Adriana Herrera's books, so I'm trying to work through some of their backlist. And this is one that I have decided to go with. And the last book going on to my TBR is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Waukesha Rice. I think this is like a horror book or something that has to do with like cryptids, I believe, but this one has been on my TBR for a while, so hopefully I finally get to it. But that is all for today's video. Those are all the books I am hoping to read, mixed with a few more for some secret little projects that I'm doing. But if you like this video, don't forget to leave a like and hit the subscribe button and leave a comment of whatever you feel like, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!